So yeah, Steward and Cheryl Miller decided to talk about the entire Caitlin Clark situation where she lost to Stephanie White, and I don't think that it's like anything wrong was said. Like, I really don't think anything wrong was said. Like, there was criticism for Caitlin Clark here, while not overly criticizing her, because I'm being real. Yeah, Caitlin deserved criticism. I didn't understand why everyone's like, oh yeah, this is all on Stephanie White. It's not. I think Caitlin's hit a breaking point. I think Caitlin has absolutely hit a breaking point, but like, that's not a good thing. And you can say what you want and be like, oh yeah, look, Caitlin Clark is like, she is what she is. And when it comes down to it, like, she's right, Steph is wrong. It doesn't really matter. Like, from a we got you standpoint, it does, but from a Stephanie White is the coach, Caitlin Clark is a player, there has to be something. They have to figure out a way to get it to work. Like, it really doesn't matter in that scenario who's right and who's wrong. So even though, like, I can't stand Stephanie White. Like, it's been very clear on this channel, I can't stand her. And by the fact is, it looks like she's just picking on Caitlin in everything. Like, there's been plenty of defensive possessions which just gone into Caitlin when Caitlin's done nothing. That being said, like, it's this is one of those ones where Caitlin's not in the right either. You can hate Steph White, but losing at your coach, you're never in the right. Anyway, let's take a listen to Steward and Cheryl Miller about it. And played at 1.5 times speed. And again, Cheryl Miller especially is not somebody that's out to get Caitlin Clark.
They're starting the season 4-2. The Fever have lost 2 in a row, and they're coming off a 16-point loss to the Fire yesterday. Cheryl, from what you're seeing, what's happening in Indianapolis?
Right now, it's frustration, and unfortunately, it's boiling over, and it's being seen. It's one thing to have it behind closed doors, but when it spills over, and when the coach has to basically say, hey, you know what, Caitlin, enough is enough. This is too disruptive. In and out. Take a seat. What do you think?
I agree. I think it's frustration. I'm not like the best lip reader, but I feel like Stephanie White did say defense a couple times. And Caitlin Clark was in foul trouble this game, and obviously we know how things are being called. So I think it is a lot of frustration, but it's also like not that crazy. This isn't the first time we've seen this. It doesn't have some deeper meaning to it. I've had moments like that with coaches. I think it speaks to relationships, player-coach relationships. Like, shout out Brian Agler. You could say anything to that man, and you could keep it moving. And then I had other coaches where maybe you couldn't, and you have to learn each other in that way.
And I'm going to be real. It seems like it's a boat-way thing. Like, Caitlin Clark is the only player that Stephanie White will speak about like this. And it's one of those things where, from the perspective of a fan, we're looking at this and it's like, oh, it's unfair that Caitlin's being singled out. And it looks like Caitlin's not taking offense, but like, she's not happy about it. But at the same time, this could be one of those things where it's like, this is how you have to get through to Caitlin. Whatever the fuck she's doing is not working with Caitlin. Whatever she's doing on the court is not working with Caitlin. Trying to channel the good with Caitlin and deal with minimize the bad. Because that's what you have to do. You have a maverick player. You have to do it. You can't tell Jack Grealish to go just stand on that wing and do nothing else and kill his career. From a 100 million footballer who was considered world class to basically being done very quickly. Like, it's one of those things where, and I actually don't think this would be a big deal, but it's happened twice in a week. It's happened twice in a week. So then we have to start saying, like, is it the biggest deal in the world? No, but it's not nothing anymore. It's not, oh, this happens anymore. It's now happened twice in a week.
Knew the line, but you knew the line when it becomes disruptive, and then and that's when even Kelsey Mitchell kind of chimed in and said, like, you need to go stand over here and let us just regain calm in our huddle. When it becomes that disruptive to the entire team, somebody has to step in.
Well, that's my question for both of you, because you've played on teams where there are high expectations. You know what that pressure can be like. Are these moments actually impacting their ability to win games? That's the question. Is there more to this? Because at the end of the day, if you're winning, no one even blinks at that conversation.
They're down 20, so it did not affect anything yesterday. If we can be real, it did not affect anything yesterday.
conversation in the huddle, but that's not what happened. So
I think in this game, it did. I think they got off to a great start if you hadn't watched. They then faced a Portland team that when you give them any kind of confidence, they get rolling. They get rolling, it's really hard to keep up. And in the midst of this was foul trouble, was I think a disconnectedness amongst the team. And then, it ended up, the frustrations boiling over, ended up having them lose this game on the road in the ways in which they did.
And everyone's talking about Indiana and their defense or lack of. And all the fingers are being pointed towards Caitlin Clark. And look, if I'm Caitlin, everyone this season's going to come straight at her because they want to see if she's physically able to keep up. She is, but now people are turning the corner on her saying that she, we can get past her. We can score on her. So now, like I said, if I'm Caitlin Clark, I'm going to take this personally and do something about it.
Yeah, what does need to happen in Indy for them to get back on track?
Oh, specific to what we're talking about with Caitlin and kind of getting ISO'd, that's been me. I've experienced this. I'll tell you exactly what I did. I learned every single tendency of every single player I was going to be guarding because everyone has one thing they don't want to do, and you got to.
And I'm going to be honest, Steward is 100% right. Steward is actually 100% right, where you have to learn the tendencies and send players to their B game. All of it. And I don't actually think Steward's wrong, but I also have to point out the fact is that that's what Stephanie White's supposed to be doing. That's her job. She's the master game planner. She's the master of knowing tendencies. She's the master of, she knows her own players' tendencies so well that she's decides, you know what, we're not actually allowing you to play your A game. She's actually better at stopping her own team play their A game than she is about stopping anyone else. Because the problem is first of all, your coach is supposed to be showing you that. But second of all, it doesn't matter what players' tendencies are. If you are left on an island, it becomes a case of, are you faster than your, are you faster than your opponent? Or are you faster laterally than your opponent is sprinting? If the answer is yes, then you'll be able to stop. If the answer is no, they'll just go meep meep and run in a layup. The answer, more often than not, is no with Caitlin. Because I was very disappointed with her guarding Sarah Ashley Barker, because there's no excuse to get burned by Sarah Ashley Barker. There's just not. It is genuinely one of those things where it's Caitlin can learn every single one of the tendencies, but if she's being switched on to players that are quicker than her, you can't do anything about it. Because in those scenarios, when you lose the speed advantage, when you lose the speed advantage, all you have to do is, okay, well, I'm going to funnel you into help. I'm going to funnel you into a pinch. I'm going to funnel you into basket, like what Olivia Miles is doing at Minnesota. Olivia Miles can't stay in front of anyone either, but she is able to funnel people into pinches, and if they get by the pinch, they're into Natasha Howard. The problem is that the Indiana Fever don't play help defense. The problem is that the help defender, because they switch everything, is the rim protector is Kelsey Mitchell. For some reason, the weak side or the strong side pincher is Aaliyah Boston, who's a big, or Mo Billings, who's a big and not used to playing guard defense. And your rim protector is Kelsey Mitchell. Caitlin Clark could literally have an eidetic memory and study every single tendency and know every single tendency, and she's still fucked. I think that's the big problem. I think the bigger issue with this is, again, Caitlin Clark is sick. She's sick of it. I don't know what she's sick of. I don't know if she's sick of the coaches. I don't know if she's sick of the organization. I don't know if she's just sick of playing basketball. There's a non-zero chance. There is a non-zero chance that she's sick of playing basketball. The likelihood of that is low, but it's not impossible. We're not going to pretend that there's not a chance that she's not just like, I'm fucking over this shit. She could be sick of anything right now. But she's, whatever it is, she's just sick of it. She's just over it. And it's boiling, it's spreading, it's coming onto the court. And if you're Stephanie White, people are like, Caitlin has to take defense personally. Do you not, there's no taking it personally that's going to help you guard players quicker than you. There's actually not. Because to take it personally, everyone's like, oh yeah, you know what, I'm going to take it personally. I'm going to try harder on defense. What does that mean? You foul. Taking it personally on defense in this modern WNBA just means you foul. Layla LeCon nearly fouled out of a game in 20 minutes. Raven Johnson fouled out of a game in 10 minutes. Like, taking it personally equals be more physical equals foul out of the game. That's the problem is actually fouling too much now because they're going at her. But it is it's one of those things. It is genuinely one of those things where I get it. I actually think it's not a good look on Caitlin that she snapped. I think it's a really bad look on Caitlin that she snapped more than once. That being said, like, we're now in a situation where, yeah, this is going to completely boil over into something that it's now, I'm going to say it's not that it was a bigger deal than it is, but I'm like, I actually think this is a big deal now. And the problem is that there's no solutions. If you were like, the solution is Caitlin needs to want it more. All that does is foul her out quicker. All that does is foul her out quicker, because if you are a not particularly quick defender, wanting it more is be more physical. Like, all these players have weaknesses. Carla Late's weaknesses are jump shooting. Carla Late is hitting fucking pullbacks. Jacite's weaknesses are jump shooting. Jacite's going triple step back three in Caitlin's face. And she's getting clipped up as like she doesn't guard the 3-point line. And when she guards the 3-point line, she gets burned because she's not quick enough. The problem is that it doesn't matter what a player's weakness is. It seems like it doesn't matter. The ball just goes in if it's on Caitlin Clark. It just goes in. And to be fair, again, Caitlin Clark is not the worst isolation defender. She's actually not one of the 3 worst isolation defenders on this team statistically. Like, Raven has been worse in isolation, concedes more points in isolation. Sophie concedes more points in isolation. Lexi concedes more points in isolation. Kelsey Mitchell concedes more points in isolation. And Caitlin Clark gets isoed more than all of them. And she concedes less points than all of them. So she's not even that bad in defense. The problem is that narratives are narratives. Narratives are narratives. And there's nothing you can do as a not particularly fast-footed defender if there's no help, and the scheme is from your own coaches, we are willing to let them switch whoever the fuck they want onto you and let you get ISO'd for 40 minutes. I'm sorry. Could you imagine, or you're going to guard big, so you imagine if in 2015 Steve Kerr said, you know what, we're going to switch screens. Steph, you go guard Zach Randolph. They would have been murdered. Or you go guard AD. They would have lost in the first round in 2015. They would have lost in the first round, but the unfortunate thing is that Steph wants to coach his team exactly like they're the Connecticut Sun, running the same offense and same defenses as the Connecticut Sun, and I think she's fully convinced that Caitlin Clark is Alyssa Thomas. It is what it is. But in a vacuum, nothing that... The criticism of Caitlin Clark for letting it boil over, the criticism of Caitlin Clark for her defense, which hasn't been good, don't get it twisted. I'm not trying to say she's been a good defender. I'm saying... like the what you call it, I'm saying now that she's just not the worst of the terrible bunch. And that's the problem, is that on a really good defensive team, Caitlin Clark is the worst defender who has certain good attributes on defense. But on a team of bad defenders, it then becomes, we're going to pick whoever we want to ISO, and we want Caitlin foul trouble, so we're going to ISO on her. It is what it is. And the fact is that the narrative is now basically, Caitlin is the problem. And unpopular opinion, like, that's a good thing for Caitlin Clark. Getting Caitlin as far away from that organization as possible is a good thing for her. Thanking her trade value so that you go to Washington and suddenly all you get back is Amor and 2 firsts. Like, that's an ideal scenario. Because if you can surround, everybody has always said this from the start, if you can surround Caitlin with athletes and defenders, Caitlin's insane. But unfortunately, they surrounded her with no athletes and no defenders. And she's being left for dead. And there's nothing she can do about it. The only thing she can fix is her attitude. And clearly in that scenario, you don't want to scream at a coach publicly. But fuck it, like, it's not going to change. It's not going to change the system. I hate to say it. It's not going to change the system in any way.